Hey everyone, it's Jen, and welcome back to another income report. This is for March 2024. And if you hadn't noticed, it's been a friggin' roller coaster ride. Like right around March 5th, when everything started going insane, I just didn't look at stats at all for the rest of the month because I I've worked so hard to get out of that hole. I wasn't voluntarily going back in. So it took me a little bit longer to get this video recorded. I had some technical issues and I really hadn't looked at anything, so I had to dig a little further. So, anywho, let's jump in. The first site is the AI Niche Pursuits site, and this was the last month for the contest. Well, spoiler alert, I'm not winning. Like, I had a nice run, but Google decided to go ahead and cut that short. So I went ahead and did the 6 month view on Google Search Console so you can see how it was rocking in November and December. And then that was kind of the height of seasonality. And then we were still nice and steady, not bad. And then 2-0. Now, the funny thing is that so Google is down 69% for the last month, but Pinterest is actually up about 18%. And so was Bing, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo. They all are going up. And I literally haven't done anything different. To be honest, though, as soon as the March update started, I stopped adding anything to this site because I honestly didn't know how it was going to go. So I probably will just sit on the site and let it, just chill out for a while. It did make $3.20 from AdSense, which is an RPM of 226. It had a little over 1,000 sessions and it got 1,500 page views. So we'll just kind of see. This site was extremely seasonal where it's going to have a lot of highs and lows. But with the way that Google is treating this, I just don't see the return on time right now. And time is a commodity I don't have a ton of. And if you've noticed from the last month's video, I'm really trying to focus on the main site. Okay, site number 2 is my food site, and I did another 6 month view here. You can see it got hit a little bit by the HCU in September. It was like 20 to 30% drop. And then bam, March, it went down to nothing, at least in Google. So if you look over at the sessions, you will see that Pinterest was way up, and Pinterest was already the major traffic source for this. And I haven't had any new pins on this site in 3 months. So this is still coasting by with work I did 3 months ago. Now, Bing and Yahoo, once again, on the rise just a little bit. But overall, even though Google like dropped, I want to say, 69%, it actually increased in sessions solely due to Pinterest. And Pinterest it's over 500,000 impressions, which is not the biggest I've seen by any means, but it still drove like 11,000 outbound clicks. So that's pretty good for something I haven't touched at all. Now, in the middle of March, Mediavine announced a new program called Journey, where if you have a website that has over 10,000 sessions, but under the 50,000 requirement to get into Mediavine, you could apply and install their Grow plugin and possibly get a new ad provider. Now, there's lots of talk about what the RPMs are going to be like. And honestly, this this food site is on AdSense. It can't be worse than AdSense, right? So I went ahead and applied for Journey. I've got Grow on there. It says it takes about 30 days of them to get the data from Grow, and then you'll get an invite if they like your stuff. So it's funny because I tried to get this site added to She Media, but they decided because this site is mainly listicles, which who thought that was a bad thing, they did not want the site. They said that Google felt that listicles were thin content, that even though it was original and it was my content, they just didn't feel like it would work. So let's see what Mediavine thinks about that. I don't know. But another fun fact is that my contract with She Media on the main site was getting ready to expire, and I had to either decide to auto renew it for a whole nother year or cancel it. Well, I had heard that this was possibly coming. So back on March 8th, I went ahead and gave my notice to cancel my She Media contract. So site number 2 and the main site currently are trying for this journey, and we'll see how that works. So probably some videos in the future when we get more data about that. Okay, so now we're on to the main attraction, which is the main site. And honestly, this is the one that I'm most passionate about, I love to talk about, and I really enjoy writing about. So if you look at the 6 month view, you can tell this got hit so hard by the HCU, and then it got hit again in March. So, I was really thinking, looking at Google Search Console, that I must have just lost an absolute ton of traffic. Like I was on the way up and now I'm just back down to nothing. So I was genuinely surprised when I looked at Google Analytics. And even though the traffic is down, like last month, I was at 21,000 sessions, and this month I was only at 17.6 sessions. Well, you know what? Even though Google's down 40%, my traffic only went down 15%. And that's because I have seriously tried working on diversifying my traffic. So, where Google went down, Pinterest went up a little bit, Facebook definitely went up, even direct traffic went down a little bit, but things like DuckDuckGo and Yahoo, those are starting to go up. So overall, the this site, the traffic from Google is starting to make a very small percentage. Like it used to be 90% Google, and right now I believe it's down to closer about 30%, maybe even less. And I am perfectly okay with it continuing to go less and less. So there was a little bit of a drop from Pinterest, not a huge amount. The outbound clicks was down about 3%. I do love how the stats never match up. Like Pinterest says it got 6.3K outbound clicks, but Google Analytics says that Pinterest only got about 5,500. So it's really hard to tell which one is correct. But you know what? Overall, as far as a huge major update that affected people so bad again, I really didn't notice that big of a difference. And that gets me excited because that means that future updates I may not even notice at all as I raise these other traffic sources up. So, what do you think? Now, you may remember that I got an invite to the Facebook bonus program, and I got it when I only had about 1,800 followers. So that was just amazing to me because everybody said you had to have 10,000. So I've got some stats here for January, February, and March so you can see what organic growth looks like. So first, let's talk about bonuses. They do them in 30-day increments, and it's kind of odd because mine usually start about the 25th of the month. So you've got, it started January 25th, and then for just that little week, it made $7.02. And then from March 1st to March 25th, and then from February 25th and over. So it gets a little confusing, but I decided to do it based on what actually got paid out for that month. So February was about $40, March 106. So that's getting nice because this becomes a double dip. So if you go to my Facebook page and you interact with my content, Facebook pays me. If you then click on a link from my content to my website, then I now make money from display ads. So this way, the average, what do they say, click through rate on Facebook is like 2%. So now I can still make money off those that don't ever actually click the link. Now for followers, at the end of January, I had 2,400. At the end of February, I had 3,500. I had one post go semi-viral in March, and it's up to 5,700. I pay very, very little as far as advertising. Usually it's between $20 and $25 a month. My audience reach has also been expanding, and this is how many people actually get exposed to my content on Facebook. So in January, it was just under 60,000. February was 128,000. March was 157. Now, the great thing about Facebook is it gives me lots and lots of content ideas, not only for more content on Facebook, but for content on my website. Back in January, I only posted 8 new articles. Well, February I posted 13, and for March we're up to 23. And I will tell you, these are shorter articles because they're geared more towards the people from Facebook and honestly not geared for Google at all. Now, I mentioned the double dip, and this is the display ads from She Media. It did make a total of $265.82 this month, but I wanted to point out these two little graphs, the revenue and the page views regarding Pinterest and Facebook. Pinterest is the pink one. So it brought in 6,000 page views and made $68. And then Facebook brought in 3.7 thousand page views and made $33, which is not bad when you add that in with the amount that the bonus pays out. So it's kind of basically being able to get paid in multiple ways for the same content. So overall, in my portfolio, I do have 4 sites that are monetized. Now, 2 of those that I haven't mentioned on here are very, very small amounts. So the total income that all my sites made in January was $308. In February, it was $345. And then in March, I was very pleasantly surprised that we ended up with a total of $433.43. That's from display ads and from Facebook bonuses. That's a 25% increase from February to March. And honestly, I didn't really change anything. I did start posting more on Facebook, and I'm getting better at increasing the engagement. So overall, I'm really happy with that. And then just for giggles, I pulled up the March 2023 data, and I only made $91.55. And that was really just for the main site. So when you look at those numbers, that's a 373% increase. So I am ecstatic. And honestly, if I didn't mention this before, when you're kind of catering more towards the Facebook and the Pinterest crowd, it really lets you get more creative in what you do. And honestly, it's just become a whole lot more fun. So it's kind of like blogging in general has made this weird circle. So years ago, people used to look down at the mommy bloggers and the recipe bloggers because they didn't do SEO. They did social media, and those specifically would have been like Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. And a lot of people consider that they weren't real niche sites, or the website wasn't that important. It was their social media presence. But these women literally built a brand based on themselves. And so people gravitated towards their content. They come back, they join their email newsletters, they buy their digital products. And then eventually, all of them were told you have to start doing SEO to get even more successful. So all of these people then started adding SEO. And then all of a sudden, their traffic has just really exploded, especially around the time that Facebook and Pinterest was going down. Well, now at the end of 2023, now 2024, it's like we've flipped again. So now people are focusing on building a brand and having a social media presence and not so much on SEO. Now, do I think that this is going to be a strategy that's going to work later on? I think it will, because the more that you don't depend on a certain platform, I think the better your odds are going to be. As of right now, Google is really only about a quarter of my traffic. And honestly, I would be okay if it was less. I saw an interview on Niche Pursuits where I believe she was a food blogger. She mentioned the number one traffic source that she has is direct traffic, and she loves it that way. And so that really has hit with me. So I want my direct traffic to be as big as possible. And in fact, the name of my website is still my number one search term in Google Search Console. So I am very pleased with that, because now my website is no longer just a site. It is part of a brand. They go there for me, which right there is kind of mind blowing and brings up the whole imposter syndrome again. But I think it's important to show that you're a real person, you have real experience. not trying to fool Google into your EEAT. Or I really think with the age of AI, people are really wanting authenticity. So if you've made it this far and you've listened to this rant, that's awesome. Please let me know how you are doing, and if your new traffic sources or trying new things is working, and if you see that the whole authentic factor is really making a difference. So I'll see you guys next month. I got to go head over to Facebook. Bye.